you have any background of seeing it, that Tara just orchestrated that. She said, "Come on, give her the money." She's slipping me $5, and she just wanted the pictures. No.
So Dick, you don't feel that I moved quickly enough?
Mm-mm.
No?
No.
I tried to move quick.
You lingered, and you were getting frustrated with him. You know, your antagonism really showed. And so you don't want to do that, you know, because you wanted him to do what you wanted him to do. And that doesn't work in regression.
Yeah, but he didn't have a schedule.
He didn't have what?
Schedule. He didn't give me a schedule. He gave me free hands.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it.
But you got to be able to run any what way? Mm-hmm.
You work with spirit in terms of guiding you on where to take someone? At the time of the...
No,
during the
you just
hypnosis?
let spirit come into you to guide, oh, I need to guide you here or there or something. I mean, because it's not about your agenda, you know,
I
like,
didn't have an agenda. He didn't have an agenda.
well, I'm just
No
saying,
agenda.
the way I work, it's not about my agenda. The way I work with my clients is not about my agenda. And I let them unfold, and I sort of flow wherever spirit might tell me. I might have to direct or guide them. But they're going on their own place, and you have to sort of let them pick. Because I think there was a little argument on the TV screen or the computer thing, and it's whatever he perceives. You know, you just let them tell you instead of instead of
No, I
directing them.
didn't mind whatever stranger was seeing. I wanted to make sure I understood what he said.
Well, when
So
you
that
popped
we were
out,
talking about the same thing.
when you popped out of the cabin, and I said, you were like, why did you leave the cabin? I didn't tell you to leave the cabin.
Yeah, because we didn't bring his guy. He didn't see his guy.
He went when he
The
went.
purpose
It's
of
his
this
journey.
Isabel, you were so stuck on getting his guides, and yes, but you didn't. If you wanted to follow a script, you were off base. You were not following the standard way that, you know, for me, it's years of figuring out how it worked best. But you wanted them to come in and be where he was now, or to come in and be in the park, or, you know, you didn't take him back to the present, and then, yeah, you misunderstood. I understand that.
That's the way I thought it was.
Yeah, I know
I've
that.
worked on everybody else for that matter, and I've had hundreds of subjects.
Mhm.
That's why this is good, then you'll have a chance to grow from this.
Yeah.
Well, I told Dick just that.
Mm.
No, not grow, but now you can get creative. You can get creative and learn the missing spots and add them in, and it'll be even better than before.
Sure. This is all about learning. That's why we're doing this.
I know, but I keep saying that I was trying to make the classes tech.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The task that we had was spirit contact.
Yes, but now,
I learned about not making it happen.
now listen, please. You really do want to get to be right, Isabel. And that, no, you don't. Now you do this. You will tend to be argumentative and want to be right. And you've got to flow, like Cindy was just saying, flow with them. And wherever they're going, and then if you see, you may have to step in, you may have to guide them, you may have to move them in different ways. But if you want an agenda to follow, follow the one that you have. Bring him back to the present, take him into higher self. That was important, to count him up, bring him into higher self. There's the chance to bring in his guides, his masters, anyone else that you think is going to serve him. And then to ask them. But instead, what happened, and I don't know if you were realizing what happened. He went into, after he died in the prison, he was in the park. Now that's a standard place where souls go. It's like a waiting place a little bit, and then they'll sort out a way station. But and then they'll sort it out, and eventually they will go up to their natural vibrational level, or they may linger there. There's a lot of excuses why souls will linger at this level, or maybe a notch up. thoughts or things, so they can be very comfortable there. You can visualize a house and have your own house. You can do a lot at that level. Maybe they're waiting for a loved one to come along. I know Tara's grandmother is waiting at a lower level, and she will not go on until her children are with her on the other side. And then she says she'll go up. She'll go to their natural level, and it may not be the same for all of the children. But so you have to recognize he died, and he is now in this place, but don't dwell on it. Don't dwell on it. Bring it, all right, I'm now bringing you back to the present. You have a basic understanding of that life, whatever it was about. Now, Ada is not the greatest subject at this, but he told you that, you knew that going in.
No, I didn't.
Well, you weren't listening to him. You weren't listening to him. But now if you'd brought him back to the present and then purely tried to deal with spirit, it most likely would have worked better. But don't linger with him. You know, he's in a park. That's it. That, you know, you asked him, and then you wanted to bring in have him look at a view screen and so on. That really was not an appropriate place for that. But you didn't take him to a really higher place. You really just brought in the view screen there, and he'd be in a state of total confusion on being after death.
No, I told him, you're going higher and higher, and you're crossing the Golden Gate, and you're going into the white light, and into
Maybe
the
did.
temple, into a room that is where your communication with your spirit
Okay.
guide is.
Okay.
So you missed that part.
Well, what were you feeling through all of this? Because yeah.
I was confused, and I didn't know where I was.
Uh-huh.
I looked back into the board, a blank screen,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked confused.
But you did that in the beginning too, when I guided you into
This is
the
a
past life.
different scenario.
He was reliving this life, though. Did you get that what he was
Well, at the
doing?
end,
Mhm.
Reliving one life into
when he started talking about the cabin,
No, did you get that all of that talk about the bus and the coma and all of that was this life?
that was after the cabin.
Yeah. So he had come out of the past life. So now he was reliving this life when he talked about that.
And I went back into the coma that
Mhm.
I experienced many years ago.
Yeah.
This time I saw what happened to me in the coma.
Now that was good stuff to dwell upon.
That good stuff.
Yeah, that is stuff that you should have been dwelling on.
I asked him what happened. And he said he attacked people.
Yeah, well, I was back to this life, and I just
Yeah.
went back into that coma.
You were gone for a few minutes, so you see.
No, not very much. I wasn't gone for long. But the thing is, it's at that point, that was a point to really do something with, but that was a time to quit worrying about the other stuff that you wanted. Well, your spirit guides, and you know, you were bound determined to try to pull them in.
Because it was our task for the day.
Right? I know. But recognize when it is not appropriate anymore. You got to recognize when it's not. You know, tell me, where were you confused by what she was directing? And this is meant purely, sweetie, I want you to have the understanding so you do it good next time.
I just got, in my mind, a mixed message, more or less, okay? I don't know how to decipher it because I actually was bound. There's no doubt about that.
No, I know you were.
Well down.
Mhm.
And I was just a little bit on the confused side. What I
Mhm.
was doing and where I was going and so
What
forth.
about the beginning? Why
At the
couldn't
beginning,
you see it?
no, there's no problem. When I went down and the beginning was no problem, but later on I got.
See it.
Well, he wasn't seeing impressions, so you have to work with a lot of different techniques. That's why I was slipping you some notes.
That's where you, in my opinion, where you failed, is not trying to bring more impressions on of mine coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like,
I had a hell of a time bringing them up. And finally, when they did come up, I went back to another past life regression I've already had. Went right back to it.
I wouldn't have done that if
On
didn't
the
have you.
ship in the canon business,
Mhm.
I was already there once before. In the
Yeah.
dungeon with the long hair and the beard.
I only did that because they
But you didn't know that he was already there. You didn't know that he already
At
had.
one time, I had went into that particular
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle,
Mhm.
past life once before.
Right.
And, of course, I've been in quite a few past lives. Assistance of somebody called acceptance. And anyhow, I got to relive it before I go again. And, now, everybody don't go to a ride. Everybody don't go to a tunnel. Some people go direct to places, like the hospital, a park. And a lot of people have created in their mind's image a place out there for themselves. The illustration, one time I had a friend that went out to see a doctor. The doctor died at 90 years of age. He went out to see the doctor, and when he found the doctor was gone, had full had hair, and bouncing all over the place, working in a hospital out there.
Yeah, that's within the light,
Right.
so
So,
within the upper astral level.
So-
or the
Not the upper astral.
The medium astral level.
Well,
so
maybe.
anyhow,
It could be just a notch. Chances are that was not at a medium astral level. Now you've got to realize that. He was still creating a reality. That doctor, and that says he was at just a notch above, you know, at a very low level here at this point.
Make sure he's not lost. I
But-
can't risk it.
But
It's too dangerous.
no, it's not. It's not. The worst that has happened is he's going to find himself in the lower astral planes. You don't have to fixate on this. He will tell you by shaking and being scared and being dark, and he will not know where he's at. You've got to move past this devils and demons, and he's not in the light stuff, and just go with it. And then I don't think you're going to have many cases where that's going to come up naturally.
What's going to come out?
Where devils and demons and all that stuff is going to come up.
It's half the
It's half the cases?
Yes, and then I had a subject who went to the lower astral, and she went into a building, a library.
Yeah.
And she wasn't scared or anything, and she thought she saw a guy.
Mhm.
And I thought he wasn't her guy, but he wasn't. And it turned out that it was a trap.
Yeah.
So I'm used to this sort of stuff. So I
Okay.
had to prepare for that. It was a trap, and she was captive.
I really...
In the lower astral plane.
Well, if she went into the true lower astral planes, now, if she went into the true lower astral, the whole thing is a trap. That whole thing is a mess and a trap. And
It was a trap, but it looked good in the beginning.
but there is another level that is not quite where all that stuff is. That's why you keep getting all that stuff.
What do you mean? That's
Well, when you are in the true lower astral planes, there's all kinds of traps.
yes.
Everybody realizes this, right? When you are dwelling down there.
No, she
And
was-
so when you astral project, or when you have to go through that, but people go through it just right now. When you astral project, then oftentimes people maybe they're going back, and all of a sudden there's something on their back, and there's all sorts of things that happen to people at that level. But when I'm talking about the spot where you're trapped right after death, it's not there. It's just cold and dark, and you don't know what's happening, and you're in a state of confusion. And most people are scared. And they've obviously moved past that because they've been reborn. Yeah, but you don't have to be afraid. Now, going down into the true lower astral planes, the only reason somebody would do that is they've just lived an awful life. They have hurt other people.
No, she had a good life. And then she went to the lower astral plane, and it looked good in the beginning, but then she was in a trap. And I tried to
don't
get her
know.
out of that, and she wouldn't. At the end, her dead father came to her rescue.
Mhm.
But by that time, she was too tired. She didn't want to go on.
Mhm.
But
How much time had you spent with her?
Not much. Yeah. Oh,
People
but-
can't take more than about 2 hours. It's just about the max amount of time that you can stay down.
It was not. It was like an hour and a half.
Okay.
But then I have to tell you, because you don't do a spirit attachment in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
because I follow his model on that.
Okay. But you're talking spirit releasement now. Make sure everybody understands what you're talking about. You're talking spirit releasement with
No, I
Bill.
gotta make sure he doesn't have a spirit, and very often it's not the subject's past life that we're seeing, it's the spirit's past life. So that's why I have to make sure he goes into the light, because if it's a spirit attachment, and we're seeing the past life of the spirit, then he doesn't go into the light. After death, he latches onto another human.
Well, I don't ever run into that, and
I have
neither
lots
does...
lots of those, you can imagine.
One basic
I
thing.
have to ask you how much, I really want to ask yourself, how much is an expectation that you have that this is going to be the case in 50% of the cases? I think you need to understand that. Sure, it may happen, but you have to be very flexible and able to let go of things. You're actually hearing what the client is saying in the circumstances. He's giving you clues where he is and whether it's dangerous or not. You can look for clues in what he's saying, right?
If it's a trap,
There'll still be enough clues, I think, that you can start moving him through into another place and moving him along instead of just trying to align him to a path that you're destined for him.
I don't have destiny.
You did today, when you even said yourself, you had this goal that you had to meet according to
it
the
was
rules,
a classic.
but you were still aligning him to the path. So you need to be in the moment, even when you have that over your head, this is what I was meant to do, it can change. It is dynamic. And so you can use that dynamic thing to create yourself and move him through into other things. And that might lead to the spirit attachment or it may not. You have to be flexible.
Well, I try to be flexible. To me, I was
Okay.
being very flexible today.
Hmm?
Yes.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
Back to the real basics. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. All you do is guide. That's all you do. You do nothing else. You guide. Well, where are you going to guide them to? Downstairs or upstairs? Where are you going to guide
Okay,
them?
your spirit guides
You're
us.
guiding them. You're
We're trying
guiding
to
them.
get your spirit guided.
You're guiding them. You're guiding them because all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. That's right down to the basics.
And,
Right down to the basics.
well, I would try to ignore some of this ideas that it might be a trap. I tell you, I don't know how many thousand people I have regressed. I have never run into a trap where somebody on the other side is literally setting a trap for someone. And so to dwell on that is setting up a very, your intention is important. And I would just try to have an intention that is very positive and not worrying about traps and demons.
Make a new thing.
I just want to leave one part of note that I liked what you did was how you took them up to the top of the pyramid. Yeah, I thought that
Oh, I
was
stole
very.
that from Tara.
So, well, anyways, I learned it from you, so. But how you took them up on top of the pyramid under the stars and how the stars all, came together to be that light and to do that chakra balance, and I like that. And then I liked how you also took it, and then that became the stairs to progress from, or, to go down from 7 to 1. So I like
Yeah.
how you integrated
I did
those
too.
two things and how that came through. And I learned that from you, and I think you have
Yeah.
A nice tone of voice too. You talk them down. It's very gentle, and I like the busy person.
Well, what you're doing really with your voice is you go into a monotone and you talk as if you are bored to death on purpose, I think. But you go into just a flat, you are going down. But you don't pace it. And so it might be all the more effective if you did. I don't know that it would.
Sometimes I try to.
Mhm.
Sometimes I forget. Today, somehow I forgot.
Yeah,
I-
but-
Did you have that on?
Mhm.
I guess it was too low because it was loud.
It was really
I
loud.
wasn't paying attention to it. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
No.
But it was nice, there was a side of you that I haven't met before,
Really?
when you were taking that was very gentle and very
Mhm.
soothing.
Yes.
And very comfortable.
I
Mhm.
didn't mean it to be soft. It didn't.
It was,
Okay,
well,
well,
we
yeah.
like it. We like it. We like it, it's okay.
But that's all right, because you flipped into anger and
Yeah.
and fighting them, so.
Yeah, you were fighting your client,
Yeah.
so you got to realize that. Well, let's let go of this now and and we'll go on from here. Now, what you did uncover, of course, was the fact that a fragment has broken off. Otto's, a fragment is broken off. So we have just a short period of time. I think I'll read you some of this. I don't have this material memorized, but it brings up some interesting things, and it shows how complicated all this can be. And so after lunch, we'll do a soul retrieval session, or we'll explore the potentials of it. But I'm going to read what I have here, and this was after doing a lot of looking and reading and seeing what the best people in the business were doing with soul retrieval. I'd also read several books, and the books are by psychologists. There's about 3 of them out there who are been written by psychologists who have devoted a great deal of their practice to soul retrieval. Parts of your soul can split off or fragment and go to other realms so that your physical body can survive a trauma or loss. With a fragment of your soul gone, you can suffer a physical, psychological, or spiritual loss of power. The idea of soul retrieval is to make contact with a lost fragment and to reintroduce to your soul reintroduce it to your soul so that your totality can heal and thrive. According to Alberta Villodato, PhD, shamans see these lost soul parts as beings that we can engage and speak to and heal and rescue. I thought that was quite interesting, that they see them as just lost soul parts, and they have a voice, they are part of you, but and this is so much a part of shamanistic practices of all kinds. Soul loss can occur as a result of trauma. When a child is abused or traumatized, a fragment of their soul breaks off and returns to the archetypical domain of the Great Mother, archetypal domain of the Great Mother, for protection that her real mother cannot provide. Adult sexual assault can also generate soul loss. Even a bitter divorce, according to some therapists, can generate soul loss. Also, a surgery or an auto accident can cause soul loss. Post-traumatic stress syndrome may be soul loss more than anything else. Now, Jill Kirkendall, RPD, says, soul loss is a life coping mechanism in which the disassociated soul parts leave, carrying the burden of their pain, shock, or extreme emotion, or the memory of the trauma, which may be simply unbearable to the sufferer at the time it occurs. Now, symptoms of soul loss frequently manifest as feelings of being fragmented or not being all there, blocked memory, or not being able to remember parts of one's life, a sudden onset of apathy or listlessness, or a lack of joy in life, the inability to feel love for others or receive love from another, often resulting in the sense of being emotionally flatlined. The loss of these parts of the self manifests frequently as despair, suicidal tendencies, or addictions, or most often, depression. Those experiencing soul loss may sleep a lot or feel that they're not all there. But each fragment always maintains a connection with you via a thread, a fiber of the silver cord that attaches your soul to your body. Often this connection exists. Because this connection exists, it makes retrieval possible. Now, wait till you've done some notes. I'll leave this out. Anybody's free to copy it, or maybe, I don't know if they have a copy machine here, but
I got one at home.
okay, great. Thank you. Okay, this is interesting stuff. Boy, does this get complicated. And I've run into a couple of occasions that I tend to believe this is absolutely what is, but whew. Yeah. Dr. Michael G. Millett adds another dimension to this concept. He claims soul fragments, if not retrieved, can continue to be connected to each other by the silver threads, even though the physical death of the soul that they originally shared. So the soul has died, and they can remain connected to each other. And then the doctor says, a fragment can separate and follow the person like a balloon on a string, says Millett. It can remain in some distant location or structure. It can also attach to another living person. A fragment of the mind of a living person can be attached to one or more other living persons. The condition of fragmentation, if not healed by death of the fragmented person, I think that is not healed by death of the fragmented person. The newly deceased spirit, this discarnate entity, is also fragmented. This fragmented entity can then attach to still another living person. Thus, a discarnate entity can be attached to two or more living individuals. Another aspect of this situation provides an interesting twist to the classic condition of spirit possession, in which a person is considered to be influenced by the spirit of a deceased person. If the living mind fragment remains connected to the spirit of a newly deceased person, then a deceased spirit is being possessed by the mind of a living person. No, I know. But this is a sort of thing you could very well run into as you explore this concept. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember when we were talking back in July, but when I went to Reiki Master Training, I was under a 100-foot waterfall.
Yeah.
And I didn't really notice anything. But later, Shaman did journey, because there was 3 of us that ended up being healed up there.
Yeah.
And the woman that ended up getting amnesia while she was up there at the waterfall. So this girl, Carol, did a shaman journey that night to find out what happened underneath that waterfall. And not only did she see the woman with amnesia, but she saw me healed. And she said something to me, how that I got fragmented, and that I should possibly see something for soul retreat. Whether that's happened or not. So
Interesting.
I see that
Oh,
situation. So
yeah, I could
you
see.
go ahead.
Yeah. Well, now, if this doesn't complicate the understanding, the traumatic incident which originally caused fragmentation might be located in another space, time, or lifetime, according to Dr. Millett. He also claims fragments can literally be floating free although the soul loss incident occurred in another area. Thus, a child could be born with a condition in which the fragment, prior to birth, attaches and becomes an influence. Or, one of these free-floating fragments could attach to an adult who is causing holes to appear in their aura through excessive anger or hatred or the use of alcohol or drugs. I should say through the excess use of alcohol or drugs. So it's a complicated, yeah. And it's not something I'm that proficient at. I have dealt with it every time it's come up in my cases, which is not all that often. But sorting it out is obviously a difficult situation. That bring up subjects, yes.
Yeah, because what actually, before I left for that master training, I felt like I was going to die. And so I needed to sort of like take care of anything I needed to, just, how you might want this done before you leave because you're not coming back, kind of thing. And I didn't know that it was going to be physical. I mean, I didn't know, car accident or something like that. But, so I think there was a part of me that, and when I was getting raped prior to that, like going to that waterfall, I felt like I wanted all the air out, and then I felt like I wanted to die, It was all good, it was good, but...
It ended up being good, but it's scary at the time.
No, I wasn't scared at all.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I mean, when I was on the radio table, I just felt like all the air wanted to come out, and it felt so good, and I just wanted, I don't mean to die, but there was that feeling of, wow, it feels good to not have the air in the body.
Right,
Cindy,
right.
to breathe, so it was just, so
Wow.
somebody would have thought it was suicidal, but it was not that intention.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The lady that was in the soul agreements that had the little girl that was attached to it, that was
Oh, yes, the fibromyalgia.
what was that? Was that a fragment of someone else that attached to her? Or was that,
I'm trying to remember back to it. Well, it ended up kind of, I think, being a possession thing, even though she invited her in. So it wouldn't be classic. It would not be classic because, if I remember rightly, she had lost a child or didn't have a child, the adult. And when I took her back to the cause, she saw this little girl staring out the window, and she was all alone, and her mom had died, and she only had her father, and the father was busy, and so he didn't have any time for her. And she just stayed in that situation, after death. She just stayed where, and I don't know why someone would not have come for her. I just don't understand why a child would end up in that sort of a situation. But I have been where I have worked with a medium, and Rose Figueroa, I often talk about, because in Scottsdale I had an art studio, and right down the street was her office, her home. And so many of my early experiences, or the person I would go to for help, was Rose. And I remember one night, and you can do this very effectively, you set up a black background, a black sheet, and you put in a red light bulb. And then she would just have everybody just sit back and now watch, because there would always be dead people around, and whether they were just, if they were everywhere or if they were just with Rose. And then somebody said, "Oh my God, there's a little boy with a sailor hat. Look." And then we could all see it. We all just kind of blanked our vision, and you could see this little boy right there with a sailor hat. And I do not feel it was mass, hallucination. He was there. And those conditions will help you to see. And yet I'm always wondering, why doesn't someone from spirit, from a higher realm, come and take him. Son, come and take him. Why does it have to be? And Tara does a lot of work with teens who have committed suicide lately. Oh boy. And she has to help them make this transition. And so, you know, you end up in a thing where you think, and she will ask Abenda, her guide, just come in, but Abenda doesn't come down real low. It's just, it'll be a quick situation. They've got to go up, and they'll be with her. And she helps them make that transition at the time. So in this case, here, she needed a baby to love, or a child to love. The child needed a mother. But then I forget how the fibromyalgia was activated by the young girl. Maybe her suffering activated it. But every time I've gone to fibromyalgia, I find a different cause. And I don't know if any of you done back to the cause with fibromyalgia yet?
I have a lot of clients.
Yeah, and so you will, I guarantee you will. But it seems that it's different in every case. In one case it was we went back and it was the life of a nun. And she lived in a little tiny cubicle where she slept. But she had to sleep on the cold floor in that cubicle. And that created a carryover that in turn created the fibromyalgia today. So, well, the woman that I wrote about in the book did. Yes, she got, but I think we also did take the child to the light. You know, in other words, we got her mother to come back for her and take the child. And so she didn't have the possessive condition any longer. I don't know about the nun, because that was in a demonstration at the NGH. And so sometimes you're just with them that day and you don't hear again.
We find a lot that there is, I think we talked about this for the first week, about physical healing as a result of this hypnosis work. People are experiencing physical healings. Are they quick, or is it over time? People going back to the cause of the healings and these things.
Right, yes. I've had a lot of physical healing, number one. Be careful of the physical healing that only lasts a week. You know, hypnotic suggestion is really only good for 4 or 5 days. And
That is if you're doing clinical, but going back to the cause.
but you're going back to the cause. I've had a lot of healings. Yeah. And in Sedona, they'll really tend to be quick, be in a healing circle. And I've got some scripts to give you on that, and we'll do it, you know, towards the end. But people will receive healings in that healing circle, where everybody is combining their energy upon healing those that need healing. And they'll go into the vortexes and they'll come out healed, completely healed. But are they ready for the healing? Is that what it takes? I had a father-in-law who wandered in drunk once. Oral Roberts was on the TV, and he said, "Come up and touch the TV set and be healed now." And so he took his pants down and sat naked on top of the TV set and was healed forever. I'm not kidding. Yeah. So when we're ready to be healed, can any situation help you to be healed? I forgot all about that situation, but it's in one of my poetry books. And
Poetry?
yeah, it's a poetry book. It's in Rattlesnake Karma. And
Doesn't sound very poetic.
no, well, I did hippie poetry. I did like 8 books of hippie poetry. And but somebody was over at the house and they found that book and they looked that up and they're just laughing their ass off. And we just talked about it. But it was a true story.
You answer Dina's question?
Mhm.
Well, like I said, in our last seminar in July, we can never know whether it's the whole soul or just a fragment of the soul. But according, for instance, according to Samuel Sagan's book,
Mhm.
he's one of the soul retrieval
Mhm.
and spiritualism therapists.
Mhm.
According to him, it's always a fragment that attaches.
So do you take it in the higher self and ask if it's a fragment or a possession
Well,
or a...
I haven't. I'm going to show you a couple different techniques that are used for it. I like the direct way. We'll work on life between lives too, because you're going to have plenty of clients who have read the Michael Newton books who will come to you and say, can you do life between life hypnosis? And of course you can. If you do it, though, the way Michael Newton says to do it, my God, if you've got a long, long session. But my experience is you don't need a long session. Martin, I forget his last name, but he's really the hotshot hypnotist in Denmark. And he's trained with me, and we've compared notes, and we're still on Facebook. We're still in touch all the time. And he says, well, you don't need to do that stuff. You can go directly there. And I feel you can go directly there in soul retrieval as well. You can just start, because the silver cord, you know, if you're going to astral project, there will be a silver cord attached to the part of your body that's leaving the physical and going out and exploring. There you will see the silver cord. If that is cut, well then, you know, you won't come back to the physical body. The physical body will die. So, the soul retrieval, everybody who's doing this work says there's a sliver of the silver cord still attached to that fragment. And so you need to follow that silver cord, and it will lead you to the fragment. Now you've got to talk the fragment into coming back in. Now it left for a reason, so it is not necessarily going to be easy to talk it. Well, I was trying to figure out this morning as I read the script how we could do this in a group situation, Dina.
Well, if you want to do it with me as a demo, because...
Yeah, well, I'd like to do it with everybody, but that might be good to do a private situation too. Yeah, one-to-one. Yeah, you guys want to watch so you don't have to do it if, you know, she disappears.
I did like Bewitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to answer the second part of Dean's question,
Yeah.
usually you know if it's a fragment or not. Because if it's a living, if it's a fragment of a living person that is attached, then they know there's a living person. There was interaction. And then this living person comes and retrieves the fragment. If it, do you understand the law?
No.
If my client has a fragment which belongs to someone else, this someone else is still alive and they know each other because there was interaction. That's how the fragment got into my client in the first place.
Not necessarily. This Dr. Malay is saying it can be free-floating and attached to somebody.
Okay, but if they know the person, if they tell me it's Paul, they know the person, then we know it's a fragment.
I've never run into that yet.
I've run to that. Oh yes,
Okay.
the person came back and they even thanked my client for their fragment. So in this case, you know it's a fragment, if it's a living person. Usually, it's a dead person from a past life. They're carrying a fragment from a dead person. Then you just release it into the light.
What are we talking about?
Fragments.
You have a fragment that broke off of you. It ran away. It ran away. Chances are it's just not near you. You have to go get it.
Dina's question was not that.
A fragment of someone else is attached to...
Oh, I see.
I'm
What you,
saying, if I say I have a fragment
Mhm.
that's on me or whatever,
let's see, a cute little one. It's right up there on your shoulder. I'd check my neck, though, to see if it's bitten your neck. But
Dina's question was whether the girl in her book soul agreements that was attached to the mother was a fragment of the little girl or was it her whole soul?
I think it was definitely her whole soul. She just hadn't moved on.
We don't know.
Why do these situations exist where they don't move on.
And that's what Samuel Sagan claims, that he can see every spirit that is attached, and in every case it's a fragment, it's not the whole soul. So
It's getting way too complicated for me. It's lunchtime.
I want to make one statement.
Yeah.
You know what lifeline is?
Lifeline?
Lifeline.
No, a human potential thing?
There's a Christian, the same height as I am, sitting on the Monroe Institute.
Oh,
People from different sections of the country leave their physical body to meet there at a certain time. They go on the other side and work.
mhm.
Okay?
Helping retrieve those
Retreat
souls.
And take them on further out.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
sometimes they get a kid, and one time there was a kid, 8 or 9 years of age, been dead about 100 years,
Mhm.
floating in the water, holding on, and they took the kid on further on.
Yeah.
Then they come back. I don't know whether you recall and remember, but when I took your 5-day course, there was a great big gal about this big, black, beautiful lady, electrical engineer.
I love the hands.
San Diego, California. Yeah, right like that. Lived in San Diego. Is one of them that does the lifeline.
Yeah.
I took it twice. I still can't do it. I can't get off the ground.
Yeah, I know. Frank DeMarco, he often sends me his experiences. Frank DeMarco,
Oh, I
he's...
know Frank real well.
Okay.
I've known him for years.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
everybody up there.
yeah,
But anyhow, I took that lifeline twice.
yeah.
And
But you haven't been able to do it.
no, I can't go.
Yeah.
I can't astral project.
Mhm.
I haven't been
Mhm. Yeah. Or at least you do, but you don't consciously remember.
That's, well, I proved it a while ago, when
Mhm.
I'm down in hypnosis, I brought the stuff up to me that
Yeah.
I done in the Monroe Institute.
Yeah.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I saw the log cabin the park and where the people all go, that's got a brewery incarnated. I even got a glimpse of that while ago.
Yeah.
Because they're,
Yeah,
where they're gonna be,
Yeah.
and when they make their soul blueprint, sort of like a PhD.
Right.
PhD, you got a
Right.
group there, same thing up there. Same thing up there. It's amazing.
well, all right. On that note,
You still have 25 minutes.
we got 25 minutes? Are we going to break at 1? And you want to... well, I'm waiting for Elaine because Elaine wants to... And that's probably holding you up, Cindy, right? Or... Oh, okay, okay. So you guys ready to go? Everybody ready to go?
It's your shift, Captain.
I'm the captain.
What are we doing this afternoon? Just curious.
Soul retrieval, to begin with. I got all sorts of things. Man, I got more things to do than I am going to have time to do.
Well, yeah, can you give us a heads up, because you know what I did last night? This
What?
is so, I can't, it's so queer, I can't, this is not like me. But I took this and I put it on the pillow and I slept on it with the intention of,
Absorbing.
and I linked my 3 chakras to it and stuff, so, because it was so queer, but I did it. And I'm like, it would be helpful to know so that I could read ahead if we knew what we were gonna do the next day.
You haven't read through the whole manual?
You know, because I gave him 4 cases reason. I gave him 4. I gave him 2 more than he asked me. That's where I put my energy into. So.
Well, we are right now. I'm. Oh, yeah. Would you like to? Okay.
Is there a copy of it?
No.